Good afternoon to you all. Okay, see, I have explained the parallelogram. Okay, so if you want, you can see the video. Okay, today, tomorrow, yesterday video you can see. Okay, fine. Okay, good afternoon to you all. So yesterday we have discussed the parallelogram law of vector. Okay, in that I think I explained you to find the magnitude of the resultant vector. Okay, so the magnitude of the resultant vector was root of a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta, where theta is the angle between a and b vector. Then we found the alpha. What is alpha? Alpha is the angle which resultant r will make with the vector a. And its value was coming as tan inverse b sin theta by a plus b cos theta. Okay. Now the next is triangle law of vector addition. Okay. So in the name itself explain us that triangle law means what? Triangle law means that the vectors like let us assume we have two vectors, vector A, okay, and vector B. Now triangle law says that when there are two vectors, okay, and we have to find the resultant of the vector. The resultant of the vector will lie on the diagonal of a triangle. Okay, so if some triangle is drawn to us, okay, then the resultant will lie in the diagonal of the triangle. Okay, that is the triangle law of vector addition. So if I say that resultant is given by a vector plus b vector, so resultant will lie on the diagonal of the triangle which has been drawn here. Okay, fine. Now if you see here, this is the a vector, this is the b vector. Now what should be the angle between the vectors? Okay, so if I assume this as theta angle, then what is the angle between the vector? The angle should always be taken from tail to tail. So this would be equal to how much? 180 minus theta. Okay, so in this case, if theta is the angle which is shown in the figure, then the angle between the vector would be 180 minus theta. And resultant is basically the diagonal of a triangle. Okay, so this is known as triangle law of vector addition. Okay, so basically we are using the parallelogram only. We don't use a triangle law, but for your understanding, I've told you the triangle law. Okay, one thing more, if you see here, resultant vector, the tail of the resultant vector will be starting from the tail of the first vector, and the head will be the head of the second vector. Okay, so we can see that tail of the first resultant vector will lie from the tail of the first vector and head would be on the second vector. Okay, so this is known as triangle law of vector addition. In both the laws, the answer would be same. Okay, fine. In both the laws, answer would be same. It is useful where the angle between the vector is 90 degrees. Like if we have a vector like this and b vector is like this. Okay, fine. Now you can see that the angle between the vector is how much? 90 degrees. Then the resultant would be what? The diagonal of a triangle. Okay. So it is very useful when the angle between the vector is 90 degrees. In this case, you can see that. Now what should be the value of this resultant? That would be equal to square root of a square plus b square. I think you know this formula. Okay, if a right angle triangle is there, then R is the hypotenuse of the triangle. Okay, so basically the hypotenuse or resultant would be equal to root of a square plus b square. Okay, so this is known as triangle law of vector addition. Fine. I hope you understand that what is triangle law of vector addition. So it is basically used when the angle between the vectors is 90 degree. Okay, fine. Okay. Now next is this is the triangle law of vector addition. Fine. Now next is the subtraction of the vector. The subtraction of a vector. Okay. So basically what we have seen the addition of the vector. Like in the previous cases, like in triangle law, the R vector is a resultant vector, which is the sum of what? A vector plus B vector. Okay. In parallelogram law also we have seen that the R vector is basically what? R vector here is what? A vector plus B vector. Okay. Then this was the parallelogram law of vector addition. Now if there is subtraction, now what will be the subtraction here? See, the resultant vector would be equal to A vector minus B vector. Then we say there is subtraction of the two vectors. Okay, subtraction means when two vectors are there, we subtract the two vectors. The resultant of that vector will be the subtraction case. Okay, now if you carefully look at this condition here, can we write resultant vector as A vector plus of minus B vector? Can we write this or not? If A minus B vector is given to us, we can convert in the form of addition process, like A vector plus of minus B vector. Which means what? It means that if I have to find the subtraction, I have to add the negative of the vector to get the resultant value. Okay, so you'll get an understanding more if I give you one example. Like, let us suppose we have two vectors. This was vector A and this was vector B. Okay, now what is the angle between them? Say theta. Okay, fine. So this was the two vectors which we are having. Okay, now if I have to find addition of the vector, addition means I have to use parallelogram law vector. So resultant will lie somewhere between these two vectors. This will be R. Okay. Then we form a parallelogram like this. Okay. We form a parallelogram like this, and the value of R would be equal to root of A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta. This is when there is addition of the two vectors. But when there is subtraction, okay, like if I have to find subtraction of the two vectors, what I need to do? I need to convert this vector. So initially this was A vector. Okay, B was inclined at an angle of theta. Now we have to find the minus of B. Now what is minus of B? Means negative of B vector. Minus B means negative of B vector. Now I told you how to convert a vector to its negative form. Okay, if we rotate the vector by 180 degree. Okay, so if I rotate this B vector by 180 degree, I'll get vector somewhere here. This will be the value of minus B vector. Okay, fine. Now this is the A vector, this is the minus B vector. Now what is the angle between A and B now? Now the angle will become 180 minus theta. And the resultant of the two vector will lie in the diagonal of the parallelogram. This is R. Okay, so if I draw the parallelogram like this, fine. If I draw the parallelogram, then resultant will lie on the diagonal of the parallelogram. Okay, so basically subtraction is nothing. It is the addition of the vector which is negative quantity. So A minus B, subtraction of A minus B means A vector plus or minus B vector. Means if I find the negative vector of that and if I add that, then it would be same as addition process. Okay. Now if it is same as addition process, then resultant of the vector R, the formula will remain same. That would be what? Square root of A square plus B square plus 2AB. But now angle will be what? Angle will be cos of 180 minus theta. Now this would be the angle of the resultant in the case of subtraction. Okay, fine. So we know that cos of 180 minus theta is basically what? Minus cos theta. So resultant will come as square root of A square plus B square minus 2AB. Okay, so when we subtract the two vectors, resultant will come as A square plus B square minus 2AB. Okay, now again we take the same condition that what angle this resultant will make from the A vector, say alpha. Okay, then again we use the same formula of alpha, that is tan alpha, that is what? Tan alpha is equal to what? B sine. Now angle between A and minus B is how much? 180 minus theta. So we have to substitute here as 180 minus theta divided by A should be okay. Fine. Wait. Nice. What was the formula of alpha? was I think b sin theta by a plus b cos theta. Okay, so this would be a plus b cos of 180 minus theta. Okay, so we know that sine of 180 minus theta is sin theta. So tan alpha will come as sin theta, b sin theta by a minus b cos theta. This was tan alpha value. Therefore, alpha will come as how much? Tan inverse of b sin theta by a minus b cos theta. And this alpha is with what? With vector a. Okay, the angle which resultant will make with vector a. Fine, fine. I hope you got this. I hope you got this or not. Okay, so this is the subtraction of the two vectors. Okay, so it is b cos theta. Sorry, not b cos sine alpha. It should be b cos theta. Sorry. Okay, so that is how we do the subtraction of two vectors. So basically, subtraction is nothing. It is the addition of two vectors with a negative quantity. See this one. This is what basically the resultant means, that is minus of b vector. Okay, fine. I hope you got the condition here. Now let us do some problem based on this. Okay, write down the question that we have two vectors. Say if a vector is no, in previous slide, see in this when we are subtracting the two vectors, see this was the initial condition a and b, angle was theta. But if I am subtracting this vector, then subtraction means what? Addition with negative of the vector means minus b. Minus b means I have to rotate this b with an angle of 180. So now the angle between a and b become 180 minus theta. So it is same like addition, but instead of theta, we are putting as minus cos 180 minus theta. That is what we are doing here. Okay. Now, if we do one question here, that if a vector is say 5 units and b vector is say 3 units, find first part resultant vector a plus b, means you have to add two vectors. Now angle between them means angle is 60 degree between a and b. Okay. Second part resultant a minus b, means you have to subtract both the vectors. Fine. Okay, fine. So here was some mistake here I have done. See, it should be minus 2ab cos theta. I did not write cos theta. Okay, so please make a correction there. Okay, fine. So we have two vectors a and b. A vector is 5 units, b vector is 3 units. Angle between them is 60 degree. Find a plus b and a minus b. Okay. So first part is to find a plus b. Okay. So resultant for a plus b, a vector plus b vector, resultant magnitude will be equal to square root of a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta. Okay, so if I draw the vector here, this is vector A, okay, this is vector B. Angle between them is how much? 60 degree. Okay, so can we simply write this as A value is how much? A is 5, so it is 5 square plus 3 square plus 2a, A is 5, A is 5 into 3 cos 60. Okay, so I think this will come as 25 plus 9 plus 15, that is 7. Okay, I think it would be 7. Okay, it would be 7. 25 plus 15, 40 plus 7. Yes. Now second case, second problem, second part in this, resultant r vector, that is a vector minus b vector. Okay, fine. In the same case, we have to find minus of b vector. So this was the initial condition. Okay, now minus b means what? This was a vector. Okay, now we have to rotate this b by 180 degree to get minus b. This will be your minus b. Okay, so we can write resultant r equal to a vector plus of minus b vector. Okay, so minus b means this is minus b now. Now what is the angle between them? The angle between them would be equal to 180 minus 60. 180 minus 60, which is 120 degree. Okay, I think you understand this. That this angle now become 180 degree. Now in this problem, theta will be 120 degree. Okay, so resultant will be equal to square root of a square plus b square plus 2ab cos of 120. Okay, so a value is how much? A value is, I think, 5 square plus 3 square plus 2 into 5 into 3. What is cos 120? Cos 120 is, I think, minus half. Okay, cos 120 is minus half. So this will come as how much? 25 plus 9 minus 15. This will come as 25 minus 15 is 10 plus 9, 19. Root 19 unit is the answer. Okay, so a plus b value is 7 units and a minus b value is root 19 units. Okay, so I think you understand this, how we are getting this. Okay, fine. See, whenever I write here r as a vector plus b vector, basically I'm adding the vectors. Okay, this is the magnitude of the vector. Don't get confused that a plus b means simply add a plus b. No, I'm adding the vectors here. A vector plus b vector. Okay, fine. A plus b vector value is equal to r, that is square root of a square plus b square plus 2ab cos. Okay, fine. So this is how we do the subtraction of the vectors. Okay, okay. So addition and subtraction is over. Fine. So this is the parallelogram. Triangle law. Basically, triangle law is useful when angle is 90 degree. Okay. Otherwise, we use the parallelogram only. That would be easier for us to use. Okay. Fine. Cos 120. I think I told you. Cos 120 is equal to cos 120 degree is equal to sine of 90 plus 30. Okay. It should be minus sine 30 minus, sorry, we can write this as what? Cos 120 as cos 180 minus 60. Okay, this will come as cos 60. Cos 60 is how much? Root 3 by 2 or what? It's not minus half. Cos 120 is root 3 by 2 or what? Minus minus cos 60. Okay. Oh, so it should be minus root 3 by 2, not this value. Okay. So there is a mistake here. It should be minus root 3 by 2. Minus half only. Cos 60 is minus. Wait. Oh, sorry, that is correct. Minus half only. Correct one. Sorry. I think it is correct. Minus half. It should be what? Square root of 25 plus 9 minus 15. So root 19 only. That was correct. Fine. That is how we can find cos 120. Okay. Now next topic is next part of vectors is the resolution of a vector. The resolution of vector. Now, what is basically resolution means? Resolution means the process of the process of splitting the process of splitting the vector. The process of splitting the vector is known as resolution. Okay, resolution means if some vector is given to us and we split that vectors. Okay, you will understand. Just first of all, you understand the definition here. Okay, now the part the part which is obtained, the part which is obtained from splitting, the part which is obtained from splitting is called the component of the vector, is called the component of a vector. And if this component is perpendicular, okay, if this component is perpendicular to each other, then it is rectangular component. Okay, rectangular component, rectangular component. Fine. So basically, resolution means we are splitting a vector into two components. We are splitting the vector into two components, and if these components are perpendicular, then they are known as rectangular component of the vectors. Okay, then they are known as rectangular component of the vector. Okay, fine. This is known as resolution of the vector. Now this will be very useful for us. Okay, this resolution of the vector is very useful for us. Okay. Now first of all, what is this? You have to understand this. Let us suppose we have x and y coordinate. Okay. Just wait. Uh, okay. Let us suppose we have x and y component like this. Okay. X and y coordinate. This is x and this is y. Okay. So this is y. This is your x component. Fine. Now if I say if some force is there or some vector is okay. Now this a vector is inclined at an angle of theta from the x-axis. Now the resolution of the vector means that we can split this a vector into two components. Means we can split a vector into its two components. The one component is along the x-axis. We can split the one component along the x-axis, that is ax, and second component we can split in y-axis, that is ay. Okay, fine. So basically what we are doing, we have some vector which is inclined at an angle of theta. Okay. Now we are splitting this vector into two components. One is along the x-axis, other is along the y-axis. Fine. Other is along the y-axis. If you look at this triangle, we can name this triangle as OEF. In the triangle OEF, in triangle OEF, if I take cos theta will be equal to how much? That would be equal to OF by OE. What is OF? That is AX. And what is OE? That is A. Okay. So can we say that AX is basically what? A cos theta. So basically vector A has a component along the x-axis. Means we are breaking the A into two parts. One along the x-axis, other along the y-axis. The component which is along the x-axis, that value will be equal to A cos theta. Okay. Similarly, if I take the sine theta in the same triangle, the sine theta would be equal to EF by OE. EF by OE. What was EF? That is AY upon A. Okay. So we get AY is known as A sine theta. Now basically this x-axis, AX, this is the component along the x-axis, or we can say the component, this is the component of A along horizontal, along horizontal. So a component of A along horizontal is AX, that value is equal to A cos theta. Similarly, the component of A, the component of A along vertical, along vertical is what? Is AY. Okay, AY is the component of the A along the vertical direction. Okay, so basically what we are doing, we are splitting this vector into its component AX and AY. Now if you see here, these components are rectangular component because the angle between these two vectors, the angle between AX and AY is how much? It is 90 degree. So that is why they are known as rectangular component. That is why they are known as rectangular component. Okay, so the A vector has split it into X and Y, AX and AY. Okay, now if we carefully look at this condition, see, just think on this point that we have two vectors. One vector is AX, which is along horizontal. Another vector is AY, which is vertical. Now, if you look at this becomes a triangle. Okay, so resultant, if I apply triangle law of vector addition, the resultant would be starting from tail of the first vector and will end to the head of the second vector. This is the resultant. Now what is the value of resultant here? Can we find the value of this resultant? So if I find the value of resultant, that would be equal to square root of ax square plus ay square. Okay, what is ax square? Ax square is a cos square theta, ay is a sin square theta, ax is a cos theta whole square, and ay is a sin theta whole square. Means it will come as a. So what we have understood from this means if I split this vector into ax and ay, the resultant of the splitting of the vector would be a vector. The resultant of the vector which we have splitted, okay, will be equal to a vector. Okay, so in some of the problems, we simply need to split the vector into two components. Okay, the splitting will give us the resultant vector, that is a vector. Okay, fine. This is known as splitting of the vector into two components. This is very useful when we do some problems on Newton's law of motion. There we have different forces, two or three forces are there. Okay, in that case we have to split the forces into its component. Okay, we have to split the force into its component. Fine. I hope you understand what is splitting of the vectors. Okay, so if I give you one problem based on this, can you do that problem? That if a vector, if a vector no, these are not different kinds of resultant vectors. See, basically, instead of A, we can write AX and AY. Okay, so instead of A vector, we can replace by AX component and its AY component. The resultant of these two vectors will give us A. Okay, instead of writing A, we can write as AX vector plus AY vector. Okay, that resultant will give us A. So that is what splitting means. Instead of writing A, we can write into its component. That is component along the horizontal, component along the vertical. Okay. So if I give you one problem based on this, that if A vector is given by say 10 Newton, okay, find its component. Okay, if A vector is 10 Newton and A vector is inclined to 30 degree, or A angle is inclined to say for take 30 degree only, 30 degree from horizontal, from horizontal. Find the component, find component along horizontal and vertical. Find the component of A along horizontal and vertical. Okay. So if some vector A is given as 10 Newton, yes, we can find A by splitting into two. Yes, very good. Okay, so we can find the value of A by splitting into two components, Ax and Ay. The resultant of both the vectors, okay, resultant of both the vectors will be A vector only. Okay, fine. Okay, so first of all, let us draw this figure here. Okay, we have one vector A. A vector is there. That A vector is inclined at an angle of 30 degree. Okay, at an angle of 30 degree. Now we have to find its component along horizontal and along vertical. So what is a component along horizontal? This will be Ax. Fine. Component along the vertical will be Ay. Okay. So fine. This is along the vertical. This is along the horizontal. Now we know that vector we can move the vector. Okay. We can move the vector in parallel direction. So if I move this vector in parallel direction, what I will get Ay here. Okay. This is parallel shifting of the vector. I think in parallel shifting there is no problem in that. Okay, fine. So what is the value of Ax? Ax will be equal to A cos theta cos 30, which will come as how much? That would be equal to 10 into cos 30 is how much? Root 3 by 2 means 5 root 3 Newton is Ax. This is the component along the horizontal. Along horizontal. Okay. Then we have next Ay, which is A sine 30. That would be 10 into half means 5 Newton. This is along vertical. Vertical. So along horizontal, the component is 5 root 3. Along vertical, it is 5 Newton. Okay, fine. One more trick is there in this case. See, one more trick is there. You can directly draw the triangle. No problem with that. You can directly draw the triangle. One note you can make that the component which is inclined with angle theta. See, if you look at this, the derivation I have done, instead of horizontal 30 degree, can I take from vertical also? It is possible. Like in the next problem, if I ask you, the same data is there. Same data you take. Like if A vector is 10 Newton, okay, now, now, and A is inclined at 30 degree from vertical, means now we are inclining the A from the vertical, from vertical. Find the component of A along horizontal and vertical. Okay. Now in this case, if you look at this, we are inclining A at an angle of 30 degree from the vertical. Okay, fine. So if you draw the vectors here, this will be A vector. Fine. Now this A vector is inclined to 30 degree from horizontal. This is 30 degree. Okay. Now the component which is along with theta is always A cos theta or A cos 30 in this case. And the component which is away from this theta means if you draw away, this will be the away angle. This is the away, that is Ay. Okay, sorry, Ax. This will be Ax. This will be Ay. Then Ax will be equal to A sine 30. Okay, so component which is along with theta is cos 30, which is away, which is opposite to theta is sine 30. That is the trick you have to remember always. Means if you are giving theta from vertical or horizontal, you need to take that component of theta as cos theta, which is inclined, and which is opposite is sine theta. So in this case, the vertical component value will be equal to how much? Vertical component will be equal to A cos 30, which is how much? 10 into root 3 by 2, which will come as 5 root 3 Newton. And horizontal component will be equal to A sine 30, which is 5 Newton. This is now AX, this is now AY. I hope you understand that the component which is along with theta is cos theta. The component which is opposite to theta is sin theta. Okay, fine. In this way, you can remember this component that cos theta will always be along the theta and opposite will be sin theta. Okay, yes or no? Okay, I think you all are getting the component or splitting of the vectors. Okay, now can you do one more problem based on this? Let us suppose that at a some point O, we have two forces. One force is A, okay, one force is A, other force is B, other vector is B, okay. The component which is along inclined with vector is cos theta, A cos theta. The component which is away or which is opposite to the theta is A sin theta, okay. So if you take this, okay, now if I take two vectors, okay, this is A vector and B vector, okay, take this as force itself, say take this as 5 Newton force, this as 10 Newton force, okay. Now A is inclined at an angle of 53 from horizontal and B is inclined at an angle of 37 from horizontal, okay. Can you find the net force acting along horizontal, net force acting along horizontal and vertical? Means you have to find the net force acting along the horizontal and vertical. Okay, net force means the net force along the x-axis and net force along the y-axis. Okay, fine. We have to find a net force along the horizontal and vertical. Okay, so basically here we need to split the vectors. Okay, here we need to split the vectors. So this is the point 2. Okay, we can take this as point 2. Okay, now just think this A vector can be split into two components. One component would be what? Along the x-axis, other component would be along the y-axis. So if I break this A into two components, this is the first component of A, that is equal to how much? A cos 53 degree. I told you the component which is along with theta is taken as cos. So A cos 53. Now its component along the vertical. The direction of vertical component will be upward. Okay. Its value will be equal to A sine 53 degree. Okay. So we have split this A into two components. One along the horizontal, which is A cos 53, other along the vertical, which is A sine 53. Okay, fine. Next, next, can we break this B into two components? So if I break the B into two components, okay, one component will be along the horizontal in this direction. Now this value will be equal to how much? B cos 37. I told you the component which is along with the theta is cos. Okay. Now B can be split into vertical component which is downward. That will come as B sine 37. Okay. So we have split B and A into its component, AX and AY component. Okay. Now we need to find the net force acting along horizontal and vertical. Okay. To find the net force horizontal, along horizontal. Can we say like Fx? Okay. Fx. Now what is horizontal means what is the net force along horizontal? If you see here, we have one component A cos 53, other is B cos 37. Both are on the same side, same direction. So both will be positive because if we take right as positive, then this will be positive. So Fx will come as A cos 53 plus B sin 37. B cos 37. B cos 37. What is the value of A? A is what? 5. What is the value of cos 53? Cos 53 will be equal to how much? I think 3 by 5. Uh, this is 37. Okay. 3, 4, 5. So cos 53 will be equal to 4 by cos 53 will be equal to 3 by 5. Yes. It is 3 by 5 plus B value is how much? 10 into cos 37. Cos 37 is 4 by 5. So this will come as how much? 3 plus 8 means 11 Newton. 11 Newton along the horizontal. That is the net force. Now this net force is due to two components. One the component of A, which is A cos 37. Another the component of B, which is B cos 37. Similarly, the net force along the vertical. Okay. Now if I take this point is co-initial point. Now if I take upward as positive and downward as negative, okay, this is taken as positive, this is taken as negative, then net force along the y-axis would be equal to A sine 53 degree minus, why minus? Because the B component is along the negative side, minus B sine 37 degree. Okay, what is the value of A? A value is how much? A value is 5. So it is 5. Sine 53 will be 4 by 5 minus B is 10. Sine 37 is 3 by 5. So this will come as 4 minus 6 means minus 2 Newton. Okay. What does this minus represent? Minus represent the negative side of the vector. Okay. Means the component of y will be acting along the negative direction. Okay. So if I draw the net force, okay, if I draw the vectors, Fx will be on this side. Now value of Fx is how much? 11 Newton. And value of Fy will be downward. That is minus 2 Newton. This is the net force along the x. This is the net force along the y. Okay, fine. Are you are getting this? What is component? What is resolution? Why we are doing this? Okay, now, okay, just think on this point. This is fx, this is fy. What is the resultant of this value? Resultant is r. Can you find the resultant here? Resultant will be equal to square root of 11 square plus minus 2 square. Okay, so that will come as how much? That will come as 121 plus 4, which is 125. Square root of 125. Square root of 125 is how much? Square root of 125 is how much? That is, I think, 5 root 5. 5 root 5 Newton. Okay, so resultant will be equal to 5 root 5. Okay, now if I use the parallelogram law of vector addition, if I use parallelogram law of vector addition in this case, then resultant would be what? This is the parallelogram if we use parallelogram addition process we use. Then if you look at the vectors here, this is A vector, this is B vector. A vector is 5 Newton, B vector is 10 Newton, angle between them is 90 degree. Okay, the resultant would be equal to square root of A square plus B square plus 2AB cos 90 degree. Cos 90 is 0. So square root of 10 square plus 5 square, which is square root of 125 means 5 root 5 Newton. 5, okay. So 5 root 5 Newton. See, if we use parallelogram, the answer is coming as 5 root 5. If we use the component method and then 5, in both the case the answer is correct. Okay. So component is basically what? Component is basically, I think your answer, I think I answered I answered your query that why we are not using resultant of vector. We can use that. See, I have used that also and got the answer. But this is another method of doing this. Okay. Splitting into component is another method of doing this to find the resultant. But this method is more useful when we go for Newton's law of motion, where there are number of forces acting on the body, like more than 2 or 3 forces are acting. Now both are same. Net force or resultant force are same only. Net vector and resultant vector both are same thing only. No, parallelogram is easier. That is fine. Parallelogram is easier. In which case, if there are two vectors only, but if there are more than two vectors, like 3 or 4 vectors are acting at the same point, then parallelogram is very difficult for us to find. That is why splitting is an easier method to do the answer, to get the answer. Okay, fine. In this case, resultant vector is F only, force only. Okay, don't confuse with resultant vector is force only, net force only. Okay, there is no difference. If I say resultant force or resultant vector, that is same only. Okay, fine. We can do with many force also. Yes, with splitting of the vector, we can do more than we can find the resultant of the vectors or forces when 2 or 3 forces are acting on the body at the same time. Okay, fine. Then resultant method is difficult for us to get the answer. How we got 11 Newton and 5 root 2 5 root meter? Resultant is 5 root 5. Okay, how we got 11 Newton also? Both are same. Both answer will be same only. Okay. Wherever I am saying resultant vector, it means net force only. Okay. In this case, we are having forces now. That is why. Fx component is same for both the vectors. No, why Fx component is same? For A it is A cos 37. For B it is B cos 37. Why it is same? They are different. Okay, fine. So I think you understand this. Okay, so component method is easier method to find the resultant of the vector if more than two forces are acting. Okay, so one question you have to do at your home. Okay, I give you one question and try to get the answer for that. Okay, answer may not be. I am just framing the question now itself. Okay, like take a point, say O point. Okay, in this O point we have one force acting. Okay, this is horizontal line. Okay, one force acting is say 15 Newton. This angle is say 37 degree. Okay, this is F1 force. Okay, we have another force which is F2 whose magnitude is 10 Newton. This angle is 53 degree. Okay, 53 degree. And one more force is there. This is F3. Okay, F3 magnitude is F3 magnitude is 10 root 2 Newton. Okay, and the angle it is inclined is 45 degree. Find the resultant force. Find the resultant force. Okay, now in this case we have to definitely use component method, otherwise we will not able to solve the problem. Okay, so this is the homework. Try to get the answer correct. Okay, this is F3 force. Okay, fine. So I want the answer to be correct. Find the resultant force. Okay, I hope you got this. Any doubt you are having, you can tell me. Okay, now one more problem is there. Now this component is very useful when the object is on the inclined plane. Let us suppose one object is there on the inclined plane. Okay, say this angle is theta. Okay, this is a body whose weight is W. Now W is the weight. W weight will always act vertically downward. Okay, the W weight will always act vertically downward. In two vectors you can use parallelogram method. If it is more than three vectors are there, then you have to split the vectors and get the resultant value. Okay, now this is the problem here. The object of weight W is on the inclined plane theta. Find the component of the force along the inclined plane, along the and perpendicular to inclined plane, along the inclined plane and perpendicular to the inclined plane. Along the inclined plane, which component we are asking you? This is the component along the inclined plane, say W1, and perpendicular is this one, W2. Okay, fine. So you have to split this W into two components, one along the inclined plane, other along the other perpendicular to the inclined plane. Okay, fine. Can you get the answer for this? Okay, so if we see here, if you look at the geometry here, if this is theta, this will be 90 minus theta. This would be 90 minus theta. This angle should be 90 minus theta. So what is this angle? Theta, correct now? So this is theta angle. Now basically W is split into two components, one along the inclined plane, other perpendicular to the inclined plane. Okay, fine. So the component which is perpendicular, the W2, the component which is perpendicular is cos theta. So we can say W2 will be equal to W cos theta. And the component which is along the inclined plane is W1, which will be W1 W sin. Okay, so in this way we have split this weight component along the inclined plane and perpendicular to the inclined plane. That is W cos theta and W sin. Okay, so you have to look at the geometry also, that which is the theta here. Okay, so if you look at this geometry, this is the theta here. So W2 will be equal to W cos theta and W1 will be equal to W sin theta. Okay, fine. Okay, so this was the homework problem which you have to do along with this we will discuss in the class. Okay, this homework along with the homework which I give in Learning. Okay, you have to do this homework and I want you to get the answer for this. Okay, if you get this answer, then your concept about splitting a vector will be clear for you all. Okay, now next is Lami's theorem. Okay, Lami's theorem. Okay, Lami's theorem. See, triangle is the inclined plane. This is inclined plane. Inclined plane. Okay. So Lami's theorem. So what is Lami's theorem? It states that if if three vectors, if three vectors simultaneously, if three vectors simultaneously acting at a point, if three vectors are simultaneously acting at a point and have zero resultant and have zero resultant, then vector can be represented. The vector can be represented in the magnitude and direction by the three side of the triangle. Three side of triangle. Okay, this is basically Lami's theorem. Okay, see in definition, I don't want you to go in definition. Okay, I just gave you the definition here. Okay, only result is important to you all. Okay, you don't have to go for definition what they are telling you. Okay, fine. Result says that if three forces are acting on a point, or three forces or a three vectors are acting on a point, say this is a point. If one vector is acting like this, wait, just wait for 1 minute. Wait. Okay, so if one vector is acting downward like this, okay, fine. Another vector is acting like this, and third vector is like this. Now we can see that all the three vectors are acting on the same point. All the three vectors are acting on the same point, which is O. Okay, fine. Then Lami's theorem says that, let us suppose this is A vector. We can say this as a R vector. This is R Q vector, and this is P vector. Okay. Now let us suppose the angle between R and Q is alpha. This is alpha. Okay. This is beta, and this is gamma. Okay. So alpha is the angle between R and Q. Okay. Beta is the angle between P and P and R. This is P vector and R. And gamma is the angle between Q and P and Q. Okay. Then Lami's theorem says that the simple result is that the vector R, if I have to find the ratio of the vector, means the vector R divided by sine of the opposite angle. See, if you take this as R vector, what is the opposite angle? Gamma should be equal to the vector Q divided by sine of the opposite angle, which is beta. That should be equal to P vector divided by sine of the opposite angle, which is alpha. So this is the Lami's theorem, that the force acting, that the ratio of the force, that is R, is to Q is to P, is equal to R by sine gamma. Sine gamma, gamma is the opposite angle of R. So if this is if this is the R vector, opposite angle is gamma, is equal to Q by sine beta, Q by sine beta equal to P by sine alpha. This ratio is equal. All the ratios are equal, and it is equal to some constant K. Okay, this is what Lami's theorem says that. Okay, result is important. Derivation is not there in your syllabus. Okay, fine. Derivation is not there. Just simply understand the result here, that the force by sine gamma is equal to Q by sine beta equal to K is some constant. Okay, means the ratio is some constant. Okay, fine. That is K. Okay, fine. So this is known as Lami's theorem. Fine. So this result is important to us. This is very useful when three forces are acting or three vectors are acting at a point. Okay, when three vectors are acting at a point. Okay, so this is important concept. Okay, derivation is not there. Just remember this concept. Okay, fine. So tomorrow we'll discuss the problems on Lami's theorem. Okay, so today we started from where? Which point? I think we started from this triangle law. Okay, that was the first line. Okay, second slide, third slide, fourth. Yes, you have to memorize the, don't memorize the Lami's theorem. Just understand that vector, if three vectors act, first of all, this will only be applied for three vectors. Okay. If three vectors are acting on a point, then the ratio of f by sine of opposite angle, opposite means opposite of the vector, should be same. Okay. You don't need to remember. Simply you can understand this formula. Okay. We can use, you can use this Lami's theorem in the formula in this form, in this question also you can use Lami's theorem. But I want you to do this problem with component form. This problem you have to do in component vectors. Okay, fine. But you can use that Lami's theorem here also. Okay. See, opposite angle. See, opposite angle of R is what? Gamma. Opposite of Q is beta. Opposite of P is alpha. Opposite means this angle. Means see, this is P here. Okay. So remaining two vectors are R and Q. So angle between remaining two vectors, that is alpha. If you take R, then angle between the remaining two vectors. If you take Q, then angle between the remaining two vectors. That is all. Okay. Fine. Don't memorize this Lami's theorem. Just understand that if you take any vector, okay, homework I will give you. In Lanity, I will give you homework. Okay. In resultant it would be a square plus b square minus plus 2ab cos 180 minus theta. So it becomes minus 2ab cos theta. Okay. Where I have written the wrong formula? Tell me. On 27, where? Oh, it should be minus here. Sorry. No, no, it is correct only. No, minus half I have written here. See, 2ab minus half. Minus half. Cos 120 is minus half. Here I have written minus half. See. Don't confuse. See, if you are negative vector, you're finding a negative vector, the angle become 120 degree. Na? Then it is basically like adding the two vectors. Okay. No, 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 no. Don't do that mistake. Okay. See, don't do that mistake. Just look at the derivation there. Subtraction of two vectors. See, here the first condition was a angle between A and B is theta. If you subtract this, it become minus B. Now angle become cos 180 minus theta. So here in the derivation, it is cos 180 minus theta. Then it is coming as minus. Then it is coming as minus 2AB cos theta. Just see here. Okay. In derivation itself, it is minus 2ab cos theta. Why it is? Because it is cos 180 minus theta. In this problem, I have already taken this cos 120 here. See. Okay, don't confuse here. See, if you have taken minus b, then it is like a addition process only, na? See, r vector equal to a plus minus b. Okay, if you take minus b itself, it becomes what? Addition process. For addition, what is the formula? A square plus b square plus 2ab, the angle between them. See, here in the figure also I have drawn minus b here. See, minus b vector I have written here. Okay. Look at the figure also, if any. Okay. So homework will be given in Lanity. Fine. So thank you all. I hope you understand this lecture. 34th slide. Wait. Lami's theorem, tomorrow I will do the problems on Lami's theorem. Okay, fine. Just wait, I will do the problem on Lami's theorem. No. Lami's theorem I will only apply for three vectors only. If it is less than three or more than three, we cannot apply Lami's theorem. That is why I told you simply it is when three forces are acting, then you apply Lami's theorem. Otherwise, we cannot apply any Lami's theorem. Okay. Thank you all.